You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. Time now to move into a community discussion. And Nana, so finally, it's been a long tussle of we are going, we are not doing it. There's injunction. They can't pass it. They can't do this. We are walking out of Parliament. We won't be part of this. Finally, yesterday, the almighty e-levy, after all the town hall meetings and everything, all the discussions, e-levy is here. Now, let's show you this report, on how people have dealt with e-levy. Are we scared? Are we okay? Do we understand it? How are we handling, especially where mobile money transactions are concerned? This is a report put together by our Northern Regional correspondent, Mohammed Alabira. Take a look.
The popular e-levy is due to take effect on Sunday, the 1st of May, as announced by the Finance Minister. In Bimbilla, some customers have resorted to withdrawing their monies before the implementation day. For agents, they fear the phenomenon may collapse their businesses. According to them, the past few days, and especially Saturday, the 30th of April, has seen a phenomenal increase withdrawals and little to no deposit. Here are some of the agents speaking to City News.
Business, after e-levy was passed by the Parliament, yesterday and today we have seen a rampant withdrawal in the system. The customers are withdrawing their money because of the e-levy that has been passed by the government. They have a fear that their money is going to be taxed more, and then most of them are small business runners. And per them, they said, should they leave their monies inside their mobile money accounts, they will be taxed more than the commission they will be getting in the businesses they are doing, which, of course, will put them into losses. So that's why we have seen that great withdrawal for today, and then that was yesterday.
People say tomorrow they are going to start e-levy tax. So some refuse to bring their money. Some are also withdrawing their money. Simply because that when the e-levy comes, the taxes, they don't know what they use the money for. So they decide to withdraw their money. So we are there. We are seeing what is going on.
So you mean today it's only withdrawals?
Yeah, withdrawals. Sending is not going on well. Only withdrawals.
No deposits.
No deposits.
You realize that people are coming and no one is depositing. Everybody is taking. Everybody is taking. In fact, it's a serious problem because we try to explain to customers that at least maybe it is not exactly maybe how they are thinking, because when you are withdrawing, it doesn't affect you. But it's like they don't still believe it. They don't believe it. So you see that if you go to any agent in town, it's that we have run completely out of cash, because everybody is withdrawing. And you see, what happened even yesterday was that I had so much money in my G-Money wallet. I went to the bank to change for physical cash. And you know what the bank told me? That no, these days, like, they don't do that. They expect me to deposit the money into my account and then do the withdrawal. So that if there's going to be e-levy on it, then I'm affected. And you can imagine if you are depositing something like over 30,000, 40,000 into your account and you are withdrawing. The 1.5, which is not kept. MTN and other networks, they kept their withdrawals and the charges. But this one is just free flow. We are not actually finding it easy. It's not easy for us.
Some customers who were about withdrawing their monies spoke to City News.
I don't want the e-levy to affect my money, because they are giving that money for me to pay school fees.
My e-levy no scano almost the government be in kind na mesuma be. So my NSA entimi mboa me to adro na me popi mafum. Arenti na me pese me yi misika. Ewo mu nyina.
To withdraw the last part of my money before the e-levy starts tomorrow.
Why?
Because I learned there's going to be a charge on it, and that is my direct wallet. So I think it's better I take it. For the money, then when I calculate, look at 63 Ghana cedis is going to be taken by e-levy. So I want to take it from the wallet.
Business owners who use merchant accounts say they will consider stopping it because of the charges. Abdel Shakun is an agricultural inputs dealer. He has been speaking to City News.
It may have an effect to our businesses because some people do come here, pay through mobile money to us, but this time around it's like it's going to be something different. We also buy, and sometimes we buy through Momo. You send, then they pick this in the goods for you. So all these things will be a challenge to us. Definitely, we will have to withdraw our monies from our wallet because as we continue transaction, the deduction will continue. So definitely, it will have an effect to our businesses.
There was also some rush to the bank to do ATM withdrawal ahead of the implementation.
This e-levy, I am not much happy about it at all. Because of it, I even planned that I shouldn't leave Pesua on my account before tomorrow. Per the reason that it will affect my plans. The little money that I have on my accounts, as I already targeted ahead, if I made a mistake before tomorrow, I will not achieve my set target.
Until it is implemented and people see the way it will go, many people are still uncertain.
Right, so that was a report put together by our Northern Regional correspondent, Mohammed Alabira. So finally, e-levy is here, but why are people panicking,
I mean, I think it's expected. Usually with the implementation of a new levy, introduction of a new policy or law, it is expected. Some of these things are expected to happen. It's just like when COVID hit us.
Yeah.
We saw the panic shopping that happened.
Yes, when we're buying Gary or low cap for 17 cedis and
people were just storing stuff. It's the same thing, it's expected. But I think what needs to be done is proper education. I mean, all the town hall meetings have happened, but at the grassroots level, down to the layman, there needs to be proper education. People really need to understand the e-levy, the target, the mode of deduction,
exactly.
And of course, the rates.
And what transaction can I do to attract e-levy? What can I not do? Because I think that right now the information is out there. People are kind of jamming everything together, so you don't know, okay, so if I send 100 cedis to you and then decide to send another one to Paul, you know, is that going to attract e-levy charges? Or is it that once you are sending 100 and below, I mean, you can send as many as you want, and there won't be any charges.
And that is also something that should be expected, because now if people are, I'm supposed to send 1,000 CDs to someone, I can choose to send it in hundreds. 10 times a day, and that is something that is going to happen. So I really need to fashion out, and that's how come I understand where the Ghana Revenue Authority says they're rolling it out in phases. So it's a phased implementation. We're going to have the full effect with time, but now it's a phased implementation. They're doing it in stages so that at least there's a breakdown. People get to understand it before the full implementation does happen.
But now a group of people that will really be suffering will be the mobile money vendors, because now they have no money. Everyone, I mean, when you listen to reports around, people have just gone in to withdraw their money. So they are just sitting down in their, shops doing absolutely nothing. And so we also have to look at that aspect of the whole rollout of the e-levy as well, because when people don't understand, when people are scared, people are taking their money, causing some kind of unemployment, to all, because we can't lose sight of the fact that Momo has really provided a lot of employment for people, and that is the reality. But now if people go and sit there and nobody is coming because they don't have money, they've come to, and apparently some are even saying that if you come in now and you want to withdraw like as much as 5,000, we can't give you that much, because we have to give you a little, because I have my money, but I can't get what I want, and I think that is kind of
it's a genuine concern. It's a genuine concern. I mean, it was raised by the Mobile Money Vendors Association. We had the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications also raising same. I mean, there will be some level of panic. Fears will be inhibited. But that's what I'm saying. For policymakers, for government, we really need to fashion out, get a proper explanation down to the last person, so that they know that, okay, this is the situation we're in. We're rolling out the e-levy in phases. Who knows, we're going to have perhaps 4 phases until we have total implementation. But then that information needs to get down to the final person, that is me, the person who patronizes the service of a mobile money vendor. And then, of course, there should be some level of assurance for the agents themselves. They were supposed to meet with the president somewhere last week. I'm not too certain if that meeting did happen, because there were concerns of job insecurity because of the rollout of the e-levy. We even had last week the pre-May Day cleanup, the Greater Accra secretary for the TUC, I've forgotten her name, but she also raised the same concern that with the implementation of the e-levy, there was the possibility of job insecurity in there. So I think we need to holistically look at all this and then, of course, have a proper plan. Should there be any job losses in there, then there should be an alternative for such persons who may lose their jobs due to the rollout of the e-levy.
But you know, another thing we also need to pay attention to, you know, is the fact that if people, well, one, is it that we are in the early stages, you know, so we are all kind of found wanting, and with time we will understand. I mean, when VAT came, that was the same thing, you know, even more transfers, stuff like that, you know, that the charges and all, there was a bit of uncertainty and confusion. Is that how we should also look at e-levy, that with time we probably would understand what exactly is all about and how it works.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
But the issue is there is an estimated revenue target that government is also looking at. So with all this, I'm not sure, panic withdrawals, all this, will government be able to, get that?
No, I think it's overly ambitious.
You know?
Already,
can they get that?
Already, we've lost what, 4 months?
Exactly, we are behind time.
Exactly,
you know?
So there's revenue loss already. So I mean, the set target, fine, but as to whether we'll be able to achieve it via e-levy.
Exactly, because we are also looking at, you know, people patronizing e-levy like they do, and then we've been able to tax them and get the revenue. If people are not, you know, patronizing Momo as estimated and as anticipated that they would, then what happens? You know,
I mean, even prior to the rollouts that was yesterday, May 1st, if you check the reports from the telcos, mobile money transactions had begun to drop.
Yes.
I mean, it was dropping. Yeah. Because, like I'm saying, the panic will be there. And then there will be those who will go like, okay, if I'm going to be taxed to transfer money via Momo, then I'm not going to do Momo at all. Exactly. Now, the reality is that if I'm supposed to send money to my mom in the village, and I'm saying that e-levy is going to tax me 1.5%, so I won't send Momo anymore. Am I going to drive to the village to give her that money? Am I going to send it via public transport? All of these other options are also going to come at a fee.
Yeah, of course, and
there's
for me,
going to be a charge on it as well.
I think that the education, like you mentioned earlier, has to really go down to the people, you know, because I mean, whichever way you look at it, we've come to an era in our lives where we depend so much on technology, digitization, and everything that comes with it, you know, has really made our lives very easy, you know, and quite simple. So, like now you mentioned, I mean, in terms of convenience, you know, time, resources, everything. Now, if you have to go to send money to your family in Kumasi, for instance, you know, I mean, look at the time. Now you have to take time off work, you know, go to the bus terminal, go and get a bus. I mean, if you're even going by air, you look at how much you have to pay, you know, and then you realize that the e-levy charge is actually lower than transport fares, than your time, than everything, you know. So I think people need to understand properly.
And one thing also we need to do, which I think we are not doing much, is that we've limited the e-levy to Momo transactions only.
Exactly.
But this is electronic transfer levy.
So bank stuff
and all.
Yeah.
Other activities in the bank.
Yeah, and another thing is, Nana, the assurance and accountability that we don't get in this country. And I think that this is what make people a bit agitated when policies like this roll out. You know,
if we're seeing what our taxes are being used for.
We do not expect the president to use money from his pockets. We do not expect, for instance, Roads Minister, Lands Minister to use
his savings
their life savings for all these. So we understand that the country needs to be run on taxes and stuff like that. But the question is, when you tell us that you are going to use our monies for A, B, C, D, are there evidences to show that, yes, we said we're going to do this, and this is what has been done? I think that for and large, this is what makes people a bit uncomfortable with all these kind of stuff, you know, because the system is hard. Yes, things are very difficult. We're in a very difficult period, I mean, globally, you know. But the thing is, we still have to squeeze and make some payments. What do we do with those payments? Because when you sit back and look at how politicians, how leaders are kind of living a certain comfortable lives, you know, and common floor members like myself, you know, we are not seeing anything. At the end of the day, we still have to be paying from the little that we are getting. You know, it makes it a bit difficult and a bit saddening, you know. So I think that whatever we take our monies for, it should match. You know, with whatever we say we are going to do.
We should have enough to show for the taxes we are collecting. I mean, we can cry all we want. We can make all the noise we want about why government needs to collect taxes, why government needs to rake in revenue. Now they're looking at domestic revenue generation, which is fine. But something should be able to show for it. We should be able to account. Let's say we set a revenue target for the year, split it into the 4 quarters that we have. First quarter, we're able to generate this amount. We put so and so amount into this project. The project should be visible. It should be physical. We should be able to see it, touch it and feel it, and know that, okay, this is what. And it will even ginger us to pay more. Should government come asking for more? But if we don't see the results, we don't see what the taxes are going into, then there's difficulty paying the taxes. Now, why I would understand government wanting to roll out something like an e-levy is that the untaxed is large. I mean, we have a large informal
so just a few
sector.
people, you know, paying money over and over again.
And then, of course, the other taxes, we need to properly streamline them. Property rates, all the... I mean, you have a house sitting, a 7-bedroom house sitting somewhere, you don't pay property rate on it.
But all the laws are there, you see. So the problem is
implementation
because of our inadequate or inefficiency in implementing some of these things. You realize that just a few people who are working, who are being truthful, are the ones over and over again, you know, having to pay this, which is very, very unfair, you know. But when you look generally at our country, I mean, this is why people have issues, you know, when we have to still pay tax. Health sector is suffering, education is suffering, agriculture, I mean, everywhere, tourism, you know. So you ask yourself, Nasi Kaneway, you know. So I don't know, I mean, these are genuine concerns. I must say that we are at a time in our lives where, for me, it would be very, very difficult to say that you won't do Momo, you know, because we've all become very comfortable with...
It's the convenience that comes with it.
I mean, and COVID also taught us a lot of things, you know, that there are so many things you can do without being physically present. And Momo is one of them.
And this is where the world is heading. I mean, we're
there's
moving
nothing
into the
we can do about
space.
it, you know.
I mean, little to nothing.
I mean, if you have to make payments, you know, to schools, to this, they are taking... I mean, electronic transfers.
I mean, there are a few concerns, genuine, of course. I mean, the fact that people are going to stop doing Momo transactions. People, like we saw in that report, are going to make panic withdrawals. Now, if I am an employer and I pay my staff via Momo, do I take the charge off their salaries? Or do I commit to pay the charge and give them their salaries?
Well, you have to commit to... Pay the charges.
So some of these challenges...
Because if you pay me 1,000 cedis, don't come and give me...
you get it.
900 and something. That
so
is not my salary.
These things are going to happen. But then we heard a Deputy Finance Minister, John Kumar, says in the Ashanti region somewhere yesterday that some of these challenges were anticipated, and so government is really putting measures in place to help address them. Hopefully sooner than later. Because if we don't do it now, and we allow it to fester,
Yeah.
the fears will grow into habits, and it will stay.
And we shouldn't also lose sight of the fact that people can beat the system.
Oh, of course.
Any day,
Of
any
course.
time. So you don't want to have a lot of loopholes, you know, so people can study the system and take advantage. And at the end of the day, work done is zero. You know, so I think that these kind of loose ends really need to be tightened properly so that, and we should be checking people, you know.
Truly.
We
Yeah,
really
we
have to
should.
check people. Anybody found, you know, doing some kind of dubious stuff to beat the system, let them pay for it, you know, because for instance, if we are not paying, we are not being charged e-levy tax on 100 cities and below, what happens if I have to send 1,000 cities and I send 100,
10
you know,
times.
I get 1,000 cities, you know, so I think that we really need to check, because for me,
Exactly,
the
I
main
agree.
aim is to generate revenue.
Yeah.
So everything we are doing should point to that fact, you know, because otherwise you realize that people are paying the money, but we still can't account for that money. It's kind of, you know, sieving through the system, and then money.
And you know, there's a link to the Ghana card as well, because I think from July 1, all the banks are going to be accepting the Ghana card only. So if you've not done your registration with a Ghana card, it's going to be very difficult to trace your transactions. Now, so if you send a first 1,000 or you make a transfer from an account to a different account, it will be difficult to know, for the system to know that you are the same person making the next transaction. And so therefore you're going to be taxed more. So I mean, NIA should also set up,
you know, we just need more education, because when you listen to people and the questions people are asking, you realize that we don't understand.
Definitely, clearly, it's so obvious.
Understand.
It's so obvious.
So I think
we
that
don't get it.
government needs to, you know, especially now that we've rolled it out, just make sure that the education is high.
In the media,
exactly.
Get on the radio stations, on the TV stations, in the newspapers, disseminate the information properly. What transactions are affected? What transactions are not affected? What are the details in there? If I move money from my bank account onto my Momo wallet, do I get taxed e-levy? If I transfer money from my Momo wallet into my bank account, am I taxed e-levy? If I move money from one bank account to another, same name, same account holder, am I taxed or not? Let's get the information out there. Let's help people understand it, so that together, as you say, the policymakers say, we generate the revenue for nation building.
It's very, very key, and we'll look forward to how this whole e-levy conversation unfolds, you know, with time.
Definitely, we're going to have a number of stories on it, especially in bulletins, both on TV and, of course, on 97.3 CTFM. So, yes, just stay with us. We'll be updating you throughout the day and, of course, throughout the week. Welcome back. You're watching Breakfast Daily here on City TV. So we've been discussing e-levy. Of course, the implementation began yesterday, May 1. It was a Sunday, but of course, transactions have no dates. So yes, people did transact. People got taxed. There was some level of confusion. We're trying to get into that, of course, the challenges associated with the implementation of the e-levy. We'll try and get some persons in authority to also speak to the matter. I mean, yesterday I was having some calls on the transaction, but apparently it really didn't have to do with e-levy, because with the interoperability, transferring money from one network to another comes with a different charge as against transferring on same network. So, and then you know that Voda Cash, there are no charges on it. The telco doesn't charge anything. Now they are going to charge e-levy on those transactions. So, yeah, I mean, there's some challenges associated with it, clearly expected. But
and you know, it's also very key that we know how much we are paying for what. You know, so people don't take advantage of the system, because you get there and you don't know. People, I mean, they will just take advantage of your ignorance and all. So I think that these details, for instance, with normal Momo charges, you know, if I'm sending 200, I'm supposed to pay this. If I'm sending 400, but the e-levy is quite new, you know. So if I'm paying, sending 2,000, how much do I have to pay? If I'm sending 300 cedis, I think this should be clear.
And I think that the telcos also did a good job, because I think from Thursday through to the Sunday, they sent messages to all their customers to alert them as to the fact that now e-levy had come.
Well,
and so
I got a message from my bank too, you know, just let
the
you
banks
know
also
that.
did good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
e-levy
exactly.
is here, so expect
Conscientize
charges.
everyone
Yeah,
to expect
yeah,
that, okay, these charges are going to come per these transactions. So yeah, I think it really did good. But like I'm saying, the education really needs to go down because there's still so much confusion around it. People really need to get a proper understanding.
And that is what is causing the panic withdrawal.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, whether you like it or not, Momo has come to stay. Electronic transfers have come to stay. Imagine you need to do a wire transfer. Are you going to buy a ticket? But how much money, cash, can you even carry to the airport to another
That's
state?
what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because when you look at you wanting to send 1,000 cedis to your auntie somewhere, look at the time of travel, look at transportation costs and all these. You realize that, look, it's easier to do an electronic transfer. And this is where the world is today, you know, whether we like it or not. And for me, that is why I think that I mean, whatever we are paying in terms of taxes must match up to the work on the ground. I mean, because we know that we need to pay. We have to make sure that we fund the Ghana that we want to see, the Ghana beyond aid, you know. That aid is not going to come from anywhere. If we say we don't want to be taking monies from other people, it means that we have to find a way to generate our money. But the ones that we generate, you know, how accountable are these monies to the citizens? And I think this is very key. Now, we've been joined on the line by Evans Tufo. He is, well, he's also Tufo.
He's a Tufo.
Evans Tufo, and he's the General Secretary, Momo Agents Association of Ghana. Thank you very much for joining us, Evans. Hi, Evans. Right. So quickly tell us how your members, you know, have been dealing with e-levy. Now it is on. You know, earlier there were some kind of concerns raised and all, but yesterday the e-levy, you know, tax is now in force. How have your people been dealing with this?
Okay, so thank you with regards to your cherished viewers. I think yesterday the long, you know, Sunday controversy regarding the e-levy, we finally saw, I mean, the daylight. You know, prior to the implementation, the association has come up with a release, you know, advising or encouraging all agents to make, you know, themselves available into the implementation. And I mean, we could really see that yes, our members have actually, you know, complied with that. And so into the implementation, I mean, we have experienced so many challenges, you know, some hinges that we're not expecting to.
Right, so we are talking to General Secretary, Momo Agents Association of Ghana. We will get him back on the line, you know, so we continue our conversation. But this is where we are, you know, so
typically you're expected to see something like this if you make a Momo transfer. So transfer to, then the name comes followed by the number, then the amount, say 1,000 Ghana cedis. Then of course there's the reference and then the fee. So for 1,000 Ghana cedis, the fee based on the network you are on comes. So this is 7 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos for 1,000 cedis. Now this is the telco's charge.
Okay.
Then you will see tax amounts. So for the 1,000 Ghana cedis, the tax amount on 1,000 Ghana cedis is 13 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos. So for 1,000 cedis, you're paying tax of 13 cedis, 50 pesos. Then your telco is charging you 7 cedis, 50 pesos. This will bring you to 21 Ghana cedis for sending 1,000 Ghana cedis. Yeah. So that's what you're looking at now.
I mean, maybe I say we should cry.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to have to deal with it eventually. Like I keep saying, the convenience that comes with mobile money transactions, the convenience that comes with electronic transactions. I mean, imagine having to sit in the car from here to Asinfus.
You know, I appreciate that. But for me, you know, I still stand by my words that let us get value for money.
True.
Because
True.
we are not against paying taxes. I don't think anybody expects, because where are we going to get the money from anyway?
Yeah.
We have to raise the monies ourselves to do what we want to do. But all we are asking for as citizens is that give us value for money, you know. So if we are paying this much, look, salaries have not been increased, you know. So if we still have to go the extra mile, because don't forget that we are paying so much for fuel, we are paying so much for food now, we are paying, I mean, it cuts across fees and all, you know, we are paying. And so if we still have to pay extra, you know, on our electronic transfers, you know, transactions and all, I think that it is fair, but give us, you know, value for money. I mean, I say that, look, what I can benefit as a Ghanaian, you know, I mean, considering all the monies that we are paying, all taxes and everything, is to have good roads, is to be able to go to the hospital and I will not be told that there are no beds, you know. I mean, this is what we are asking for.
Exactly, truly. Now, the GRA has issued a 33-page presentation, so I'm just going to run through a few of them. I'm going to page 5 now. Page 5 is titled Scope of Application of e-levy. Now, the e-levy is charged at the rate of 1.50% on the following transactions. Mobile money transfers done between accounts on the same electronic money issuer. Mobile money transfers from an account on one electronic money issuer to a recipient on another electronic money issuer. Transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts. Transfers from mobile money accounts to bank accounts. Bank transfers on an instant pay digital platform or application originating from a bank account belonging to an individual, subject to a threshold to be determined by the minister.
So this beautiful thing they've put together, how are they breaking it down to my grandparents at Manson Kwanta?
Because, I mean, if you should tell that your grandfather, electronic
look, we are even struggling to understand, you know. We are even struggling to understand.
Exactly.
So our uncles and people like that, you know, how do they also understand? Mr. Tunfor is back online, and he is the General Secretary, Momo Agents Association of Ghana. Thank you very much, Evans, for getting back to us.
Thank you, too. Sorry for the interruption.
Right. So you were telling us how your members are dealing with, you know, the rollout of the e-levy policy.
Yes. So, like I was saying, we had some concerns, you know, coming into the idea that the industry should be taxed. And so we've run a number of commentaries, but then the long and short of it all is that it has now come into law and it needed to be implemented. And so as of yesterday, lo and behold, it was implemented. And so we have directed all agents to ensure that, I mean, they align or make themselves available so that we can seamlessly, you know, implement the list. But we realize that there are some major, you know, bottlenecks that must be dealt with, and one has to do with, I mean, education. We have been complaining so far that education has been very minimal. Yes, someone will argue that there are education running on our media platforms, social media, but the question is, looking at the major or the larger group of people who will be or who uses this particular mobile money platform, how many of them actually have the time to be listening to the media platform, let alone for them to understand what this whole e-levy is about? That has not actually been that effective. And so we have taken a number of steps to call on government to make sure that they drive home education firstly before we start. And so as of yesterday, or before even yesterday, we are witnessing so much pressure on cash out. And it does not send a good signal to us at all in the business. When that happens, it's only putting so much pressure on us because people have not actually understood the whole e-levy thing well. People thought that once they have money on their mobile money wallet, they are going to be taxed e-levy, or once they want to deposit or put any money on their wallet, there's going to be some form of e-levy being applied to it. And that has been the general perception or idea that people are having. And we are certainly sure that it has really resulted in the panic withdrawals or cash out that we are experiencing in the system now. So as of Saturday, Sunday, then this morning, we are only experiencing so much huge, cash out or withdrawals in the system. Then again, when we put that aside, as agents, we access our funding from the bank, or we do exchanges from the bank. But we realize that, when agents attempt to transfer their funds back to their bank account in order for them to get access to cash to come and serve customers, they are being charged, they are being charged 1.5%. That isn't the arrangement, that isn't the agreement of what we have been made to know. And so what is happening is quite unfortunate, and as agents whose services must be made available before Ghanaians can access it. In the course of making our services available, we need to pay e-levy. Then that is quite unfortunate, and we are hoping that government will actually look at this and then rectify it as soon as possible. Other than that, I don't think anybody will continue to be in the business again.
All right, now Evans, I want to find out from you, all this panic withdrawals, how does it affect you as an agent? Because regardless of whatever transaction, you are still working, right?
Okay, we need either of the activities to make sure that the business balances. We are not only in the outlet for purposes of withdrawal. Okay, so if everybody is demanding withdrawal, definitely I'll be sent to the elastic limit. I will definitely be left with no cash again. Do you know what it is? I have to maybe drive to bank maybe 10 times in a day to make sure that I get access to cash to come and serve the people. Right. All of these movements come with some form of cost. Okay. And then again, the business, when it happens that way, then it's only going to put pressure on us. Because when funds are on agents, and then for that matter, consumers or subscribers' wallets, it makes the system or the ecosystem very good for us to all keep enjoying. But when it happens that we are only dealing with cash out or withdrawals, the demand is coming from only one aspect of the service that we are rendering. When that happens, we are putting so much pressure on the ecosystem. So everybody wants to pull out their cash or their electronics from their wallet. In the first instance, it is really defeating one of the purposes of we having mobile money in place. So whether it is only cash in that is coming or cash out that is coming, we are not happy with that. The business must balance. You give us deposit, you give us cash out, so that at all times will be stable. But when it happens that in a space of 5 minutes, I have to run out of cash, rush back to bank, all these things will definitely attract some form of business operating costs.
Right, Evan. So, in percentage-wise, what would be the percentage of deposit as against withdrawals, like between yesterday and this morning?
Well, so I should say, when I have to say between 1 to 10, I will give deposit maybe 3, and then give withdrawal 70.
Wow. Deposit 3.
Yes.
Wow, that's quite serious.
So, yes. So business or transaction has really slowed, honestly. No one to just assume it to be a near talk. But transactions or business has actually slowed down. But we just want to believe that it is because we have just entered into the e-levy season. With time, Ghanaians will actually resonate well with the reality and then probably revamp the industry for us through their active, usage of the mobile money platform. But then it is proper that government will actually take a situation as an emergency and then do something about it as it now.
Right. Now, your association was scheduled to meet with the president. Did this meeting happen? And if it did, what was the outcome?
Well, the meeting is due to take place. We have not actually gone into the meeting yet.
Okay.
The meeting is taking place hopefully next week. And so whatever we will discuss over the need be for the general public consumption will definitely make it available.
All right. Thank you very much. Evans Otumfuo is the General Secretary.
Hello, before I leave.
Go ahead.
Yes, so before I leave, I will appeal to the agents out there that yes, we understand the challenge they are facing regarding their push and pull from the bank where they have to pay e-levy. That is what it is, and so we are engaging with the relevant authorities to ensure that they rectify those errors, and if there need to be persons who have been charged such amounts to have their funds refunded to them.
All right, thank you very much. Evans Otumfuo is the General Secretary of the Momo Agents Association, and of course he was giving us some details because first-hand experience, they are the agents, so they will have it. Yeah. But let's just run through the scope of application of the e-levy again, and then of course the charging entities and the services that are excluded or transactions that are excluded from it. So the e-levy is charged at a rate of 1.50% on the following transactions: mobile money transfers done between accounts on the same electronic money issuer, mobile money transfers from an account on one electronic money issuer to a recipient on another electronic money issuer, transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts, transfers from mobile money accounts to bank accounts, bank transfers on an instant pay digital platform or application originating from a bank account belonging to an individual subject to a threshold to be determined by the minister. Now, these are the transactions that are excluded. So for these transactions, there is no e-levy on them. 1. A cumulative transfer of 100 Ghana cedis a day made by same person. A cumulative transfer of 100 Ghana cedis a day made by same person. A transfer between accounts owned by the same person. A transfer for payment of taxes, fees and charges on the Ghana.gov system or any other government of Ghana designated payment system. Specified merchant payments, transfers between principal, agent and master agent accounts, and electronic clearing of checks. So these are the transactions that are not affected by the electronic transfer levy, which of course is the order of the day now. I mean, electronic transactions, we can't do away with them. They have come to stay. The e-levy has also come. The court is expected to hear the injunction application by the minority on, I think, on the 4th
Yeah, I
of
think
May.
sometime this week. But in the meantime, it's been rolled out.
Yeah. People are already being taxed.
Of course.
Yeah,
and this is it, But I still believe that when you listen to what Evan said, people just need to understand, because 30% of depositors against 70% withdrawal will also create some issues for the vendors as well.
Exactly. And to help people understand, we're going to speak to a member of the Ghana Revenue Authority's e-levy technical committee. His name is Opoku Afriye Asante. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. The rollout has begun. Of course, it started on a Sunday, which was not a working day, but of course, transfers were being made. From where you sit, what is your level of observation so far?
Thank you very much for having me. So currently, we have been able to implement the rollout of the e-levy successfully. However, there have been a bit of technical glitches here and there.
Right.
We have received those feedback, and then we've actually instructed these charging entities to rectify these challenges.
Well, when you say technical challenges, really, what are these technical challenges?
Right. So, in the law, there are some exclusions, or what we call exemptions, right?
Right.
So, for example, if you are transferring 100 Ghana cedis, that is your first time in a day, you are not supposed to be levied, right?
Right.
Now, we observed that some charging entity wasn't implementing this accurately.
Okay.
So we've actually asked them to rectify that so that nobody else gets levied for sending their first 100 Ghana cedis.
I mean, what system are you running on to be sure that we're charged specific amounts per the rates of implementation to avoid any future confusions? A situation where a person might be double taxed or not even taxed at all?
So currently, the system that is collecting the e-levy is not currently running on GRA's platform.
Right.
The Commissioner General issued a letter to all charging entities to commence the collection of the levy. So at the moment, it is these charging entities' infrastructure that is being used to collect the e-levy. So we do anticipate some of the challenges that are currently being talked about, and then we are assisting them rectifying those issues.
Right, now, help me understand this. If you said the levy applies to bank transfers on an instant pay digital platform or application originating from a bank account belonging to an individual, subject to a threshold to be determined by the minister, what does this mean?
So this essentially means that if you have a mobile app or an internet banking platform, if you use any internet banking platform, and then you make a transfer from that mobile app or internet banking platform to someone else who is also having a bank account, then that amount won't be levied so far as it doesn't exceed the threshold that the minister determines. So let's assume that if the threshold is 20,000 cumulative for a day, it means that I can send 10,000 in the morning to my friend who has a bank account, and then I won't be charged. That same day, if I transfer another 10,000 to another friend of mine who also has a bank account, I won't be charged. However, if I transfer 5,000 that same day to a third person or even that same person, the levy will be charged on the 5,000 that I transferred because I would have exceeded my daily limit by 5,000.
Right.
Right. So for instance, this morning, if I want to transfer money from my bank account to another bank account, let's say 10,000 from my bank account to another bank account, how much would I have to pay on that as a charge?
Yeah. So you will not be levied on that transaction because it is not up to 20,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the difficulty I am having has to do with a Ghana card and the system being able to identify if I have multiple accounts and I want to move money through these accounts. Now, not everyone has the Ghana card now. You just mentioned to us that the system being used to levy Ghanaians is not on the GRA platform now. So how are you able to monitor and identify that, okay, this account or these multiple accounts belong to this same person?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier on, the GRA is currently rolling out the implementation of the e-levy in a modified phased approach, where in the modified phased approach, what we are saying is that the levy is being charged by or implemented by these charging entities. The challenge here is that they do not have visibility over the other charging entities. So, for example, if I'm transferring from ABC Bank to XYZ Bank, ABC Bank doesn't have oversight over the recipient at XYZ Bank. So for that reason, if you transfer and it exceeds, you would then be charged. But then the ABC Bank wouldn't be able to know that it is the same recipient. So for that reason, even if it's your own account, you will be charged. However, we have put in place mechanisms to enable the individual get a reversal or what we call the refund. So all these things have been anticipated prior to the full rollout using the GRA platform that would have visibility over the entire ecosystem.
Is there an avenue for refund if I am double taxed? And how do I access this?
Okay, so currently if you make a transfer from your network and then to another network, right? And then you are not supposed to be taxed because you're actually the same person or you're the same recipient.
Right.
You would have to call the network that charged you, and then you would follow the procedure, and then your money will be refunded to you.
Okay, and then I'm still concerned about the platform. So how are you able to monitor and know that, say, for an EMI or a PSP, these charging entities are charging the exact rate per transfer, and of course, same is coming to the Ghana Revenue Authority?
Yeah, so currently that is the entire responsibility of the charging entity. What the GRA is doing is that we will get data from these charging entities who will analyze the entire data from these charging entities to know whether or not they are obliging with the requirements that we give to them.
But what does the law really say about charging entities presenting false data to the GRA? Because there's a possibility of that as well.
Yeah, so if by design the charging entities are unable to perform the specific obligations that we give to them, I believe the GRA would invite them, then there will be an investigation. And once it's concluded, I think the necessary laws will be applied.
All right. So for transactions that the e-levy applies to, now we are implementing it at a rate of 1.50%. That is granted. But there were some transactions that previously I wouldn't have been taxed. Say Momo, for example, when you're doing Voda Cash, there's a 0% tax from the telco side. This 1.50%, how are you able to separate it, especially with the interoperability? If the telco is charging a particular rate for transfer over two different networks, how do you determine your 1.50%?
Great. So typically, let's put it in context. Suppose I'm sending 150 Ghana cedis to my mother, right? What the telco or what most of these EMIs will do is that they would charge their service fee of 1% on the entire amount that I'm transferring. That is 150%, 150 cedis, right? For the tax or for the levy, if I haven't exhausted my daily threshold of 100 cedis, then it means the charge of 1.5% will be applied on the 50% and not the entire 150%, the 150 cedis that I'm transferring to my mother.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I have 1,000 cedis to share between two people, 500 each, do I get charged on each 500 I send, or it applies only to the first 500 I send?
So in this case, it will apply to the first 500 you send, because as soon as you send the 500, the system would then check to see if you've already made a transaction prior to what you are doing now.
Okay.
And then if you haven't, it would then exclude the first 100 and then apply the 1.5% levy on the 400.
Okay, great. That means it applies to the first transaction I make in the day that is above 100 Ghana cedis.
Exactly. That's right.
All right. Thank you so very much. We are grateful to you, Mr. Opoku Afri Asante. He is a member of the Ghana Revenue Authority's e-levy technical committee. And of course, he just gave us a breakdown of the e-levy, the transactions that are affected, the rates, of course, in the 1.50%, and of course, the transactions that are excluded. Interesting conversation there. So now it makes sense. So first transaction I make in the day above 100 is what gets taxed. So I'm levied on that first one. So I can split 1,000 cedis between two people, 500 each, but I am taxed on the first 500 because the system should be able to determine whether I have made a transaction today or not.
Well, for me, I mean, I think it's very important, you know, because this is what will create the confusion and the challenges, you know, and also for the fact that people need to understand, you know, the dynamics of these transactions, you know. So you go in there knowing that, okay, this is it. So you are not being taken advantage of, you know, because we are in Ghana, realistically speaking, we know how things work, you know. If you do not understand, everyone will take advantage of you. And I think that the vendors need to understand properly, citizens need to understand properly, and the system must work. I mean,
and it's also important to note that keeping money in your wallet without transferring
is safe.
Is safe.
No charges, you know.
And then also the levy applies at the point of transfer and not at the point of withdrawal.
No.
So, I mean, it's fine. Send me some money, I can go and withdraw it and I'll be fine.
Well, that's it, you know. Now the problem is the sending. You know, the sending is the
that's
issue
just for the sender to deal with. I am a recipient.
So at some point, you be the sender. That's why everyone is crying, you know, because there might be a time that now you need to send. Now, when we're paying school fees and stuff like that, they hardly even allow you come to the school to make payments. You know, you have to do bank transfers and all that, thanks to COVID. But I'm sure with time, we will all understand, you know, how it works properly, and I think that we'll make some headway with that as well. This is Breakfast Daily. We'll be right back.